The Aruba National Park Foundation manages most of the mangrove areas on the island. We celebrate the International Day for Conservation of Mangrove Ecosystems to raise awareness of the importance of the mangroves and their sustainable management.
Mangroves are spectacular, rare and biodiverse ecosystems on the border of land and sea. But what makes mangroves really important? Mangrove ecosystems are rich in biodiversity. They support a host of life. There are mammals, birds, amphibians, reptiles, and a host of invertebrates living in mangroves. Mangroves are also an important nursery habitat for fishes and crustaceans who start their life here before leaving off to the coral reefs. The soil surrounding mangroves are also highly effective in carbon sequestration, and in that way they help combat climate change. And lastly, mangroves also act as a really important natural coastal defense system against storm surges, against erosion, and they also filter all the water coming from the land to the sea. So why should we be concerned about mangroves? Well, mangroves are disappearing at an alarming rate. They are disappearing 5 times faster than the amount of global deforestation happening at this moment. That means that in the last 40 years, the amount of mangroves all over the world have more than halved. And this is a cause for great concern because it has an enormous impact on our fisheries, on our coastal protection, and eventually also on our tourism.
So what makes mangroves such special plants? Mangroves are unique plants that are able to grow in salt or brackish waters, where other plants would probably perish. Other plants are not as well adapted to the salt environment. Instead of seeds, mangroves grow propagules. Propagules are tiny plants growing on the tree that are already ready to shoot their roots as soon as they fall on the ground and find a place to settle. These propagules sometimes travel very far with the ocean currents before finding a new place to root. That's probably how they spread throughout the entire world. In Aruba we have 4 different species of mangrove. The red mangrove, or Mangaltam in papiamento, stands in the water. Their root system provides an ideal structure to serve as a nursery for many reef fish and crustaceans. The black mangrove, or Mangal preto, likes the areas that submerge during high tide. The leaves often appear whitish from the salt excreted, and they have special root shoots called pneumatophores. The pneumatophores are above ground and water in order to breathe, like snorkels. White mangroves, or Mangal blanco in papiamento, typically grow well above the high tide line. The leaves of this mangrove are unique since they are the only one that is round-ended. The buttonwood, or fofoti, can grow in coastal areas as well as inland. Our iconic tree at Eagle Beach is a fofoti tree.
So, how can we protect our mangroves? First, avoid pollution. Make sure you properly dispose your trash at the nearest trash bin. Also, the use of pesticides will contaminate the water. Mangroves are wonderful to explore. When exploring, do respect the local wildlife. Many animals and their young, both on land and water, can be sensitive to disturbances including sound and movement. When visiting Spans Lagoon, the largest mangrove area on Aruba, please adhere to the park rules and regulations. Report any disturbances to the local authorities. Please help us conserve our mangrove ecosystem, because healthy mangroves means healthy reefs and oceans, healthy fisheries, and a healthy tourism for current and future generations.